Record. Okay, so some of this information you might already know. I would hope that you guys at least know some of it. Otherwise, we have a pretty big problem. But a lot of it you probably won't, and a lot of it might not be relevant to you right now, but it's important to just kind of know, because hopefully your goal is to maximize your income in this business and be able to take it to whatever level you want. And it's important to understand how to get there, because it is a process and you can't just wing it, because it simply doesn't work like that. So I'm just going to jump right in. Hold on. Let me just take a sip of water. Okay. So we're talking all things compensation. I'm going to go over how we get paid, how to maximize your income, and how to strategize for that. Oh, don't be a little jerk. Okay. So how do we earn? Retail versus mofo. There are two parts to our compensation plan. The first part is retail sales, which obviously you guys know about. We earn 25% commission on anything we sell. So it's really straightforward. You earn 25% commission. The only thing you don't earn 25% commission on is the club membership. Every 3 months when that refills for people and they get charged at $40, you actually earn 50%. So it's just at $19. So that's the only thing that we earn a little bit more on as far as retail goes. So I gave an example. If you sell Max 30, which retails for $120, the 25% commission will be $30. And then so if you sell 5 Max 30 DVDs, and these are just the base kits, not the challenge packs, then that's $150 in a week. Now, speaking of challenge packs, I didn't include that in here, but challenge packs are, hopefully you guys all know that they are when you get the program and the Shakeology bundled together, and there's a fixed price, and then we earn a fixed commission based off them. So for instance, I know the $140 challenge pack we earn $40 off of, and then it just goes up from there. I think the percentage is closer to 35% for those. I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head, and I should have included that, but forgot. So just know that challenge packs are different. You're not going to get, 25% for the program and then 25% for the Shakeology. You just get a little bit more percentage for the whole challenge pack. A note about Shakeology HD. So if you guys don't know what HD means, that's simply our auto ship program. What, Brooklyn? You can come sit out here, but I got to do this call, baby, okay? You want to come sit out here? Okay, well, okay, so another example. Shakeology retails for the same. It's $130. So the 25% commission is about $30. When a customer reorders the Shakeology, or when it refills automatically the next month, you make that $30 commission again. And this will continue on for however long the customer keeps the Shakeology purchase. Shakeology is really kind of like our bread and butter, and that's simply because it's a consumable product. So it's something that your customer is going to use, more than one time, hopefully. Whereas if they purchase just a program, that's a one-time purchase. It's not recurring. So this is important to understand, because acquiring a Shakeology customer will be more valuable to you over time than a customer that just wants to order one workout at one time. This is also why hitting SC every month, Success Club every month, is so important. Because it compounds your income over time. So in month 1, if you hit Success Club and you make $90, and then all 3 of those Shakeologies refill, the next month you're making $90 plus whatever, on top of, hopefully you hit Success Club again in month 2. So going into month 3, now you've got $180 compounded on top of the next month's Success Club. So it really starts to build up fast. Hopefully you guys remember compounding interest from high school or college or whatever it was, but that's exactly what this is. So other products we sell that are on Home Direct, all of the performance supplements. So, our energy drinks, our protein shakes, even like the protein bars from P90X, all of those are on Home Direct, as well as the Derm Exclusive, which is a facial line that we sell. vitamins, and the Ultimate Reset also has an HD option, and so does the 3-day refresh. I believe, I don't know, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm sure many of you guys already know that better than me, because I ran from that 3-day refresh as fast as I could. Okay, so retail versus cycle bonuses. So this is kind of how I think in terms of retail versus cycle bonuses, and hopefully it'll help explain it to you guys a little bit better. So our commission is like our paycheck. We do the work and we get paid right away. If you get commissions every week, and when I say commissions, I'm talking about retail commissions based on the purchases of your customers. Cycle bonuses, on the other hand, are sort of like a 401k, or not a savings program, but something that is going to earn you money long term. It's an investment in your long-term residual payoff. Once you have a customer convert to a coach, you no longer get commissions from that person. Instead, that person who is now your personally sponsored coach and no longer your customer contributes volume to your organization, which helps you cycle more. So you may be saying, why is this beneficial, or how does that work in my benefit? Nike, my God. Okay, so for example, pretend that you invite your neighbor over and he buys Shakeology as a customer. You're going to make $30 on commission. Now, let's say that instead of doing that, you signed him up as a coach because you knew that getting him the discount would be beneficial to him. Whatever the reason is, I don't care. Either way, now instead of getting that $30 commission, you're getting 90 volume points whenever his Shakeology refills. It takes 300 volume points to cycle one time. And I'm going to go into that more later for those of you who don't know what that means. But each cycle is worth $14 to you if you're an Emerald coach. There are different levels to cycle bonuses, which again, I'll talk about in a minute. So no, you don't get nearly as much money from your neighbor's purchase on Shakeology, but it is beneficial to you. And here's why. The immediate payoff is much less if it's a coach instead of a customer, but over time, if your neighbor invites others, gets them inviting others, etc., your downline starts to grow and grow and grow. If he's making sales, if he's sharing the product, if he's doing all those things, this is all going to contribute to your team volume. So it may seem like, well, I'm only getting 90 volume from him, and that's true, but what about everything he's selling, everything he's buying, and everybody he's signing up who is then using the product? Again, it compounds and it adds up over time. So yes, if you're looking at it for the short term, keep them as a customer because you're going to make $30 versus 14 every 300 volume points. But long term, which is what we're talking about, getting your customers, especially the ones who, really love the products as coaches, is a huge investment for your team. In my experience, my retail earnings were nearly all of my total earnings for the first several months as a coach, especially because you have your warm market at this point. So all these people who are just now seeing that you're a coach, who are interested in what you're doing, they're going to be purchasing. But it's really, really important to not bank on just retail sales. You have to build your team. And that's because retail sales don't last forever, and neither does your warm market. And there's going to come a point where it runs out. And so you can't control what other people do. You'll have, I'm sure many of you guys have experienced many people who say, yeah, I'm going to buy, and then they never do, and they just kind of disappear. You can't control that. So you cannot bank on retail sales, especially if you're trying to build a solid and consistent income. My cycle bonus earnings now far exceed my retail earnings, mostly because that 401k is compounding every day. So now I've built up a team that's strong enough and that is productive enough that even if I don't sell anything all week, I know I'm getting a paycheck because my team is producing volume. Okay, I feel like I'm talking fast. Cycle bonuses. So now I'm going to go into a little bit more about what cycle bonuses actually are. And volume is my favorite and least favorite subject ever to talk about because it's really, really hard to explain to people. But it's kind of like once that light bulb goes off and you get it, you're just like, you see the world in a whole new light and it makes so much more sense and you're like, oh my God, I get it. So hopefully this will help you guys get to that point. Okay. So the second part of our compensation plan is team cycle bonuses. We use what is called a binary compensation plan. Basically, all that means is that each coach has two legs that they should build far and wide. And I'll go into what far and wide means a little bit more. This binary compensation plan or a binary model is really kind of standard in a lot of ways, especially for network marketing, because it's the best way to build growth. So let me give you a little model that I stole from Google. So this would be an example of somebody's downline. So up here, if I'm just going to use my own example, Laura is my sponsoring coach, and she has me placed somewhere in her downline. There are people above me that she sponsors as well. And then even though Laura is there and she's above me and these other people are above me, I am the top of my own business center. Anything Laura does or these other coaches does not affect me and my business in any way except for contributing to my volume. So don't think that, your upline success has anything really to do with your success. It doesn't. You're responsible for your own business center. Anyway, so you're at the top of your own business center. Your left leg will literally be the left side of your downline, and then your right leg will be the right side of your downline. You'll also hear us use the term strong leg and weak leg. Your strong leg will be the leg that your sponsoring coach has you placed on. So it varies for each person. You would either have to ask your coach, or you can tell by looking at your downline. But really just asking your coach is the most simple way, unless you just kind of get it and can figure it out. So in this example, my strong leg would be my right leg, which ironically it is that way for my business because Laura has me placed on her right leg. So not only will I see coaches that I'm placing on my right leg and that my team is sponsoring and signing up on this leg, but I'll also see coaches that this little red dot coach here has been signing up, and also that Laura has been signing up and placing on their right leg. They all contribute to my strong leg. So that would mean that the left leg is the weak leg. So ideally, and I say ideally because I'm going to go into some situations where this might not be what your business looks like. Mine is actually different. It doesn't really work this way for me, but I'll explain all that in a minute. Ideally, you would have a strong leg that actually produces a ton of volume. That's in like a dream world where your upline is very, very active and doing a whole lot, and their coaches above you are doing a whole lot, as well as your coaches. Everyone's just really contributing, and you have a ton of volume on this leg. So then you would want to build and focus on your left leg. Now, the reason why we say to place them far and wide is because you want to give the coaches in your downline an opportunity to build their inside legs. If you're building the inside legs for them, you're not benefiting them, which really, it's not your job to benefit them. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes you'll misplace the coach and not realize it. And that's okay. Don't beat yourself up for it if you accidentally place somebody on the inside leg. Yeah, that does kind of suck for them, but they have to still focus on how they're building their business. They can't blame that on you. But try to make sure you're placing your coaches on the far outside leg. So if I'm talking about this person right here, their strong leg would be their left leg, their weak leg would be their right leg. So they're going to try to build up their right leg. And the reason why this model would benefit you is because if they're trying to build up their weak leg, because ideally their strong leg would have a ton of volume, you're getting even more volume built up. So it's kind of like a snowball effect, right? You're trying to build up your weak leg, and then all the people on your weak leg are building up their weak legs, and then those people are building up their weak legs. It kind of just provides more room for growth. Now, again, sometimes it happens where a coach does not get placed on the outside part of the downline, and that's okay. It doesn't hurt them at all. It's, I heard somebody say the other day that they can't advance rank if they're put in an inside leg. That's not true. Your coaches are responsible for their own success. Beachbody is not going to punish them because of where you place them. They will still be able to advance rank. They'll still be able to build their business. They just won't be getting volume from all these other people. So they might not cycle as much, or they might have to work harder to build up volume to cycle. So that's kind of the difference there. All coaches in your downline contribute to your team volume and help you cycle. So if this is me, all of these people contribute to my volume, whether they're my personally sponsored coaches or not. That doesn't matter. And there's no cap. It doesn't only go down a certain number of people. Every single person in your downline contributes, whether there's someone you signed up or someone 100 people below you signed up. It doesn't matter. They all contribute. The most lucrative part of the Beachbody coach plan has to do with team cycle bonuses. When you hear about coaches making tens of thousands of dollars a month, it's because they have built a large organization that is producing a lot of team volume and using strategies to do so. Keep in mind that team volume is volume that is created by anyone within your organization. It doesn't matter if you personally sponsored them. I literally just said that. But this is why sponsoring coaches who want to work the business is so important. It doesn't serve you well to sign up coaches who have no intention of working the business. And I say that, but in the same breath, I'll say it's okay to sign up coaches who have no interest in working the business. You're going to get both, but really just understanding beforehand what that person's intention is with the business will help you know how to set up your downline. So if you're signing up a new coach, it's very, very important to find out whether they want to be a discount coach or they plan on trying to work this part-time or full-time. That way there you can place them strategically. Because you don't want to put, you don't want to put all of these coaches who are just signing up to get the discount on your weak leg, because then you're never going to cycle and then you're going to get frustrated, and that's just not going to be very good for you. So again, I'll go into that a little bit further in a minute. Team cycle bonuses again. Okay. First, it is important to know that in order to be eligible to receive cycle bonuses, you have to be an Emerald coach or higher. If you're just a regular coach, you are not eligible. You have to be an Emerald coach, and then there's, qualifications you have to meet in order to be an Emerald. So an Emerald coach means that you sponsor one personally sponsored coach on each leg. So it has to be someone that you actually enroll. If you see someone there in your downline and it's someone that, I put there, they don't count. It has to be someone you actually sign up. You also have to have 50 volume points to be an Emerald coach. And there's other things like paying your business service fees and having your bio filled out. All that's in the back office. You can see what the qualifications are if you really want to know. Just know an Emerald coach is you and then one coach on each leg. So how do you earn a cycle bonus? There is a video that Beachbody Corporate made. Michael Neiman made it, and he uses action figures, and it's kind of annoying, but that video was the video that made it all click for me. It was finally when I understood what cycling was. So if you walk away from here and you're still like, I still don't get that crap, it makes no sense to me, go watch that video over and over and over until you get it. It's just like studying for a test. You just have to keep practicing. And honestly, it's hard to understand volume until you start getting cycle bonuses, because then you'll start to see what we're talking about. So if you're a brand new coach and you're just like, this is way over my head, don't worry. It'll start to make more and more sense as you go along. Anyway, so you earn a cycle bonus anytime you get a total of 300 volume points. And again, this is team volume we're talking about, not personal volume. Anything you buy or sell does not contribute to your team cycle bonus. That doesn't count. It's things that your team buys or sells. It has to be split with a 2-to-1 ratio. So 200 volume has to be on one leg and 100 volume has to be on the other. It must be the 2-to-1 split. You can't have 150 on each side. It has to be 200 on one side, 100 on the other. It doesn't always have to be the same leg though. So like if last week your left leg had 200 and then 100 on your right, and then this week it's opposite and your right leg has 200 and your left has 100, that's fine. It just always has to be the 2-to-1 ratio. So here's a little graph that I stole from Google. Again, this just kind of shows you. So this would be you and your organization, and these are all your coaches, and then this little guy would be your coach's coach. And then, so you're an Emerald coach because you have 2 coaches signed up underneath you. And it's saying that the left leg volume over here was 540 and the right leg was 200. So if we follow that 2-to-1 ratio, we can pull 200 volume points from this 540 twice. And that leaves us with 140 left over. So 540 minus 200 is 340, minus 200 is 140, and that's how you get this number. Now, because we have 200 on this side, we can pull 100 twice. So we're able to cycle twice this week based off of these numbers. Now, just to make sure you guys understand it, if this was 540 and this was only 100, you would only cycle once. Even though you can pull 200 TV from this side twice, if this was only 100, you can only hit that cycle one time because that's all there is. So what will happen is the remaining volume that's left over at the end of the week that wasn't used to cycle will just roll over to the next week. So don't worry if you're like, my volume was crazy, but I only cycled this much. You know, my left leg is so much more volume than my right. Don't worry, that just keeps rolling over until you can use it. The only time you lose banked volume is if you go inactive. So this is another really important reason to make sure that you stay an active coach, is because if you're banking volume and banking volume, banking volume, and then you go inactive and then you come back and go Emerald, you kind of just screwed yourself a little bit because you just lost out on all that volume that you could have, you know, cycled from. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Variations in volume. So depending on how your organization is set up, sometimes your volume will fluctuate per leg. Ideally, your strong leg will always produce more volume since it's being assisted by coaches that your upline is placing under you. However, this isn't always the case. My business is a great example of this. My volume is pretty much perfectly even on each leg. So I'll get into that again later. If you're building your organization for income, you're most likely placing the bulk of your new coaches, especially the ones that you think will produce a lot of volume, on your weak leg so that you can cycle more. This can often lead to your weak leg earning just as much, if not more volume than your strong leg. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. My weak leg earns just as much volume, sometimes a lot more than my strong leg. And the reason why is because Laura has me placed in a spot where her heavy hitters on that leg, on my strong leg, are above me. So I don't get their volume. And then, you know, her newer coaches are all placed under me. And so, and I'm on her weak leg. So I'm already getting less volume, but then also her heavier hitter coaches are above me. So I also put all of my really strong coaches on my weak leg because I know eventually Laura will go 2-star and open up a second business center and put that under me, which I don't want to confuse you guys yet, but I'm about to get into that too. That means that if I have a really strong left leg, I'll be able to cycle a lot more. So there are always going to be fluctuations in volume. And if you're really trying to figure out how to do this and you're just like, look, I need to know how to set this up, feel free to reach out to me. I can help you guys figure it out. But for the most part, you're going to want to be placing the majority of your coaches on your weak leg. And that's because you want that volume to start adding up, because you can almost count on your right leg, or not your right leg, your strong leg having more volume because of your upline. So is this good or bad? It really just depends on how you look at it. This situation allows you to build for both volume and rank, but may keep you from maxing out your cycles each week. So what I'm talking about here is if your volume is even, remember you won't have that 2-to-1 ratio every week, because I can't have, I'm not going to be able to max out my cycle bonuses if I'm even. So a lot of times what happens is, 1 week I might make $1,000 and then the next week I'll make $2,000 because all that rollover volume finally caught up. And now I'm cycling more things to that. So that's kind of what your pay will look like. It'll be almost like half and double every week or two. Also, I kind of think it's a blessing in disguise because I can focus on building for rank as well, because it won't hurt me to put strong coaches on either leg. There have been a lot of top coaches who have talked about, there are coaches who are in the Millionaires Club who literally make over $1 million in this business, but they're only 4 and 5-star diamonds. Meg Wigzinski is a good example. She just went 15-star, but before that, she was only I think a 6-star. And that's because she was placing all of her really heavy hitter coaches and people who she thought was going to do really well on her weak leg. Because it really won't serve you well to place them on your strong leg if you're pushing for volume, because the goal is not to get an even, same number on each leg for volume. It's to have that 2-to-1 ratio. So there comes a point where you kind of have to be like, how important is rank to me? And then you have to kind of figure that out and, move your business from there. Because that's just the way it's set up. So is your strong leg not strong? Again, this is kind of referring to the people who have a business structure like I do, where my strong leg really isn't that strong. There's a few reasons for that. There could be many more that I didn't think of. Your strong leg might not be strong because of your upline. So I know that Laura doesn't really build my leg that much because she's trying to push to 2-star diamond. So because I'm a diamond, now she has to put another diamond on the other leg. So she's been building that leg, trying to get to diamond and push for rank. So that's one reason why my strong leg isn't getting as much volume as it could. Or, that I'm putting all of my really heavy hitters on my left leg so that I can hopefully cycle more. That being said, this is reason why it is not a good idea to depend on your upline to contribute to your cycle bonuses. Don't ever let me hear you say, well, my upline's not placing any coaches under me, or they put me in the wrong spot, or my upline's not contributing to my volume, or blah, blah, blah. It's not your upline's responsibility to give a shit about what your cycle bonuses look like. And I know that's probably really harsh to say, but I don't expect Laura to build her business based on me and what I need. It's my job to build for that. And you guys should all have that exact same mentality. Somebody has to be placed on the strong leg and somebody has to be placed on the weak leg. It doesn't really matter who it is. You just got to kind of figure it out wherever you're placed. I could be mad that Laura placed me on her weak leg, but what would that serve me? It doesn't really matter. Actually, in her case, that was a really smart move because, my business is pretty large. So it helped her out a lot. My suggestion, and it took me a long time to figure this out, and I do this now with my coaches, I don't focus on rank. If I get somebody who comes to me and says, hey, I'm signing up a new coach and I really want to know where I should put them, I always talk to them about where they should put them based on what they want for their income growth. So many people, oh my God, it's devastating to see. So many people get caught up in pushing for rank goals, but they don't realize that rank doesn't pay you. Yes, there are benefits to hitting certain ranks. Don't get me wrong. You should definitely push for Emerald ASAP. And Diamond also has benefits, and so does 2-star Diamond and things like that. But really what you should be focusing on is building for income and then letting those other things happen organically. There is nothing worse than watching someone bust their ass to get to Diamond, and then they get to Diamond and they're disappointed because they're not making any more money, or they're making less money than they should be making because they were so busy building up one leg trying to get, that Emerald, that they missed out on a whole bunch of cycle bonuses that they could have gotten. And now they're coming to me and they're like, well, I'm a Diamond coach. I worked so hard for this, and now I'm only making $80 a week. Why? When there's an Emerald coach over here who built their business and they're maxing out at $250 a week with just 2 coaches under them, or, however they set it up. Having just 2 coaches under you is not likely, but whatever. So my advice is to always build for income over rank. If you're doing this the right way, the rank will come regardless. And long term, it's a lot more substantial to build for income. You don't want to be like a 6-star diamond and only making $1,000 a week. Trust me, you'll be pissed. How much you make per cycle is determined by your rank. So this is why rank is important, as well as knowing what the cap outs are for each rank, which is on another slide I'll show you in a second. So you can't just stay an Emerald coach forever and hit Millionaires Club. Beachbody makes sure that they set it up that you can't do that. You have to constantly be growing your business. But as far as our cycle businesses or bonuses go, an Emerald coach earns $14 per cycle, a Ruby $16, and a Diamond $18. So that's kind of one of the benefits to becoming a Diamond coach is that you earn $4 more than an Emerald coach, which I know doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're cycling 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 times a week, that $4 can really start to add up. So another example, let's say that you have 2,000 volume on your right leg and then 4,000 on your left leg. This would equate to 20 cycles. So here's what you would get paid at the different ranks. With 20 cycles as an Emerald coach, you're multiplying that 20 times 14, which would be 280. Ruby is $16 per cycle. So 16 times the 20 is 320. And then same for Diamond. The 18 times, is that wrong? That's supposed to be 360. Don't judge me. Now, the only other difference is you get what we call a matching bonus when you're a Diamond coach. And this starts to add up a lot too. I remember Stephanie Chico at one point posted and she's like, you know, your team's doing really well when your matching bonus is 15 grand for 1 week. And what your matching bonus is once you become a Diamond coach, you earn a 10% bonus based on how much your coaches cycle. So for instance, if Peggy, gets a $400 cycle bonus, I'll earn, $40 off of her. So any coach I have that cycles, I earn a 10% matching bonus off of their cycle bonus. So you add that into, this is going to drive me crazy now, 360. You add that into your cycle bonus because you do see it on your pay each week. So that is another bonus to going Diamond. So there are, it is important to still push for Diamond. I just wouldn't build your business to try to hit Diamond. Okay, so here's what I was talking about, your cap outs for each rank. As an Emerald coach, you can only cycle and earn up to $250 per week. As a Ruby coach, $1,000 per week in cycle bonuses, Diamond, $2,000 per week. Now, I've heard a lot of leaders say that your goal should be to get to your cap out before you really start doing things to push for these other rank goals. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I think that it's okay to push for rank, before you hit cap outs, but definitely if you sign your spouse up, you want to try to max them out, and I'll go into how you can do that. But just know that these are the cap outs for each week with cycle bonuses alone. So as a 1-star Diamond, each week I can earn $3,000 max per cycle bonus. And if I go over that 3,000, again, it will just cycle into the next week. So, I'll never lose money. It's just, that's my cap per week. Okay. Additional business centers, or you'll see us refer to them as CBCs. When coaches advance in rank at certain levels, we're eligible to open up new business centers or CBCs. So when you go 2-star, which is why people push for 2-star, you get to open up another business center. So essentially when I go 2-star, what I'll do is I'll go on and I'll fill out a coach application. I'll put my name, my social security number, and Beachbody will allow me to enroll myself as another coach, which is amazing because that means I can start working that business and earning money 3 different ways just from that one business. Whereas right now I can only earn money one way from my business. So let me see, did I explain it in this one? Yeah, so this CBC has its own weekly maximum limits on cycle bonuses. So if I take that CBC Emerald, I can max that one out at 250. If I take it Diamond, I can max out at 2,000. And this is in addition to my main business center, the one I have now. Imagine having 25 business centers because that's the maximum you're allowed to open. all maxing out the compensation plan at $12,000 per week. That adds up to about $300,000 per week, or $15,600,000 per year. That's just on cycle bonuses. And that's if you're capping everything out and you have the maximum of everything. So don't think that that's like something you're going to get in 5 years. That takes a lot of work. But that's something that could absolutely happen. People like Janelle Summers and Lindsay Matway are well on their way to this number. So, just understand that our ability to earn in this business is far beyond retail. It goes so much deeper than that. So why is a second CBC beneficial? To understand the power of opening up multiple business centers, you have to take a step back and really look at the long-term picture. Basically, what you produce in your second business center will also benefit your first business center. For example, once your second business center is open, when you make a sale, you want to make them in your second business center. So if I have a second business center and I have somebody who comes to me and wants to order 21-day fix, just the program, I'm going to put that sale through my second CBC. So that's because that sale would count as personal volume for the second business center. So I'm going to make the commission off of that. That's the first way you make money. It'll also be team volume for my first business center. So then I am earning a cycle bonus. So in a way double dipping. You don't make it 3 times technically, I guess, all of your own retail sales. And what is even more powerful is that all the team volume created in your second business center is also team volume for your first business center. So team volume will be worth more to you. So basically, you're just paying yourself to do the same thing with the whole other business center that you have as your first business. You can make double the money. If I'm selling 21-day fix and I put it into my second business center, I'm going to make that commission regardless, but now I'm also going to have that volume go towards my cycle bonus and potentially help me cycle more. So that's why opening these business centers is really, really beneficial. You can also push business centers for rank. So if I am pushing for 5-star diamond and I have a second business center, I can push that to diamond, and that can be one of my diamond coaches that helps me reach my 5-star diamond mark. So it's literally like it's a whole other business that you get to run. Okay, I need water. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Okay. So it's important to understand that when you're just starting out, you'll probably only really earn income from retail. And that's because you just don't have a team yet. But as you continue to build your team, build it right, and this will start to all make sense, and you'll start to see what I'm talking about and how it pays off. But it's also important to understand exponential growth, and that in the early stages, growing a team will be more challenging. So it's a lot harder to go from 0 to 100 coaches in your downline versus 100 to 1,000. The reason why is because as you bring in new coaches and they bring in new coaches and they start to bring in new coaches, it's like a snowball effect. And that's why. And I remember Stephanie Davies was talking one time, and she was saying it seemed like it was a really big struggle to get her team to, I think her goal was like the 500 coaches in her downline mark. It was like she had to work really hard. And then it was like it went from 500 to 1,000 within a month or two. And then that 1,000 into 3,000. And it's just been like crazy growth from that point. Because if you have 100 coaches and they're all pushing for Emerald, that means 100 coaches are going to sign up, 2 coaches each. So you've just doubled and doubled and doubled, and that's just how it keeps on growing. The key here is really to be able to endure the struggle that it takes to grow a team in the beginning. If you get frustrated and quit or give up because you're not seeing the return on this right away, you'll never see the return. It does take time, it takes patience, and it takes perseverance. But and there was another image I saw, I think it was from Brittany Leggetti, who said, I think I just totally messed up her name, but hopefully you guys know who I'm talking about. When she said that our business is kind of like this, right? So like your first few months will be the bottom of the graph, and you're going to put in the most work in that time, and you're going to get the least amount of return, and then it'll keep growing, where you can finally start putting in a little less work and seeing more growth, putting in a little less work, seeing more growth. And so there does come a point where your growth starts to outweigh the effort that you put in, but that's not going to happen in the beginning. You have to work really, really hard to get to that point. Sometimes it's possible to earn more income than your upline. A lot of people have the misconception that their upline makes money off of them. And this is actually a big reason why people think that this might be a pyramid scheme, is because they don't understand how our compensation plan works. If you create a big and productive team, everything you produce as far as volume goes and that the coaches in your organization produce will be considered team volume for your upline. Yes, that is true. However, in order for a coach to benefit from the volume that you guys are producing, they need to have volume on both legs. Remember, your volume only counts for one of their legs. So if I'm on Laura's strong leg on her right side and I'm producing a shit ton of volume every week, but she doesn't have any coaches on her left side, or she only has really weak coaches who aren't producing any volume, it doesn't matter how much I bring to the table. She's not going to cycle because she's not hitting that 2-to-1 ratio. So a coach won't be able to earn income without building their business for themselves. So no matter what you do, your coach still has to work hard for themselves. And the same is true for you. If you have a coach who's doing really well, you can't sit back and just bank on them to put money in your pocket. You still have to work your business just as if, they weren't doing well. Okay. Moving into placement now. Coach placement is one of the most important parts of your business to understand because it can have a huge impact on both you and your coach's success. Please make sure you always set placement for new coaches before they enroll. You need to know where you're going to place people before they sign up, because moving them after they do sign up is a bitch. And if you've ever had to deal with it, you guys know what I'm talking about. Sometimes CR is really good about it. Sometimes they're not. As I mentioned earlier, I suggest a far and wide coach placement strategy simply because that will benefit your coaches the most. But again, if you've placed coaches on your inside leg, it's not the end of the world. Becca Gahan is a great example. She's on the inside of Stephanie Davies' weak leg. So she literally got no help from Stephanie Davies for a long time. And she's still a 6-star diamond and really successful. So it doesn't, trust me, it's not going to kill them. So here's an example of the placement, just to give you guys another visual. If this is you at the top, your two coaches, your personally sponsored coaches, Jim and Jane, you want to place them here. Beachbody automatically splits your first two coaches up, so you don't have to worry about that. But beyond that, you do have to go in and set your placement. So you're always going to want to try to set them on this outside leg versus on the inside leg on both sides. So that's what I mean by far and wide. And you do, again, remember, you have to set that placement before they sign up. If you're not sure how to do it, there's a video in the files section of both Team Diamond Dynasty and Live Long and Prosper that will show you how to do it. It's really easy. So the benefit of the far and wide strategy is that each coach that you sign up will have a strong outside leg contributing volume, which will help them cycle more as they work to build their inside weak leg. If every coach uses the same strategy, the whole team benefits and every coach is in a good spot. The job of a new coach as they grow their team in downline is to build their inside leg or their weak leg to cycle and take advantage of all the volume points on their outside leg. So that's really kind of the benefit for them and why it's important to try to set that up, really because it does just make it easier for them to cycle. And I say easier very loosely. It actually doesn't make it very much easier. They still have to work just as hard to cycle. But, Okay, the best strategy for placing coaches is this, and this is in a perfect world, this is what you would do. Your first personally sponsored coach would go on your weak leg. Your second personally sponsored coach would go on the strong leg. Bam, you're an emerald coach. Your third, fourth, and fifth coach will go on your weak leg. Now, well, I'll get into that in a second. And then your sixth, seventh, and eighth coach will go on the strong leg. That way there you can become diamond, because a diamond rank is split 4 coaches on each leg. So that's why you would build it in that manner. And then your ninth coach and all afterwards should go on the weak leg to build it. Now this example and this strategy is set up on the idea that your strong leg is very strong, and also that all of your coaches are going to be actively working the business. And neither of those things are constants. They don't always happen that way. You might get coaches who want to just be discount coaches, and there's no reason to put them on your weak leg. If you get somebody who wants to sign up as a discount coach, I highly suggest putting them on your strong leg, because they're not going to contribute a lot of volume regardless. You want to put your strong and heavy hitter coaches who really want to work the business, or who you think are going to do really well, on your weak leg, so that they can help produce more volume. If you happen to sign a coach and you didn't set their placement, or they signed up before you could set their placement, you can contact Coach Relations and request to have them placed differently, but you only have 72 hours to do it, which is why I say to do it beforehand. What I do is, as soon as I sign up a new coach, I just go in and automatically set my placement, so that next time I don't even have to worry about it. I'm just taking care of it way beforehand, and I'm not waiting until the last minute. So again, here are some exceptions to that placement strategy. If your coaches are inactive, you can't count them. So let's say you sign up 4 coaches and one of them goes inactive. You have to replace that coach, essentially, because they're not counting towards your rank, and they're obviously not bringing in volume if they're inactive. So you would have to place another coach on that leg to make up for them. If you become a diamond coach and want to protect your rank, you're going to need to place more coaches on each leg to provide a buffer. So to be diamond, you have to have 4 on each leg. So I always suggest 6 at minimum. That way there, if somebody goes inactive, you have, you're covered. Because the worst thing is getting 4 and then putting everybody over here, and then someone on, the side with only 4 goes inactive, and then you lose rank. That's really frustrating. As you start to shoot for multiple star ranks and multiple business centers, you will need to talk strategy with your upline. That is absolutely necessary, because in order to be a 5-star diamond, your diamond coaches have to be split in a certain way. It gets very complicated and in depth, and you have to really have a plan. So make sure you talk to your upline at that point. Or Laura and I, either one of us can do it as well. So I stole this from Steph Chico. This is part of that document that I uploaded in both groups the other day about signing your spouse up and second business centers and all of that. So you could literally, it's word for word, I just copy and pasted it. The placement of your second CBC. So remember, when you go 2-star, you get to open up your second CBC business, which is where you just sign yourself up again. But it's important to place it in the correct spot. So ideally, you're going to want to place your second business center on your weak leg, underneath your spouse's weak leg. So if my weak leg is my left leg, and I'm a terrible example for this because I even have dread on my strong leg, but if I had him on my weak leg, I would not only place him on, or my second CBC on that side, but I would do it on his inside leg. And the reason why is because your spouse's business center is basically a second business center. You can work to build it. You can work to take it to Emerald and then max out on your cycle bonuses. And then where she's talking about in here, when you place your second CBC, you're contributing now to not only your first business center's volume, but now your spouse's business and their volume, and you're helping them cycle more. So really just having a clear understanding of where you should be placing these things. And this is something to think about as you're signing up coaches. If you sign up a coach and they're trying to push for Emerald, tell them to sign up their spouse, but to do it and put their spouse on their weak leg. A lot of new coaches jump in and they rush to go Emerald and they just sign up their spouses wherever. And that's not necessarily the end of the world, but if you want to protect them long-term for volume and income, help them out and let them know ahead of time. So a quick note again about not focusing on rank. Rank may impress others, and Steph Davies always referred to it as like the shiny car that you drive, but it doesn't mean you're earning more money. In fact, if you focus on rank at the expense of growing your customer base, you will most likely earn less. So what I mean there is, if you're just signing up a ton of discount coaches, you're not going to earn as much money as you could if you were signing up coaches who were actually working the business and using the products and things like that. And also, if you're signing up coaches and you're just going, coach number 1 goes on the left leg, coach number 2 goes on the right leg, coach number 3 goes on the left, coach number 4 goes on the right, and you just keep going back to back like that, you're not setting yourself up to build volume correctly, and your income won't be as high as it could. Is it good to be an Emerald coach? Oh, shit. Yes. So while I'm saying don't focus on rank, what I'm not saying is don't try to hit rank goals. You should be doing both. You should be building for income and still trying to hit rank by encouraging your coaches to be active and to be productive coaches. Emerald is especially important because it opens up a whole lot of doors for you as a coach. So you not only get to start cycling and actually earning this money, but you also get free leads. Which, if you guys don't know what a free lead is a customer that Beachbody gives you when you're an Emerald coach or higher, and whenever you hit at least Success Club 5 in the month prior. So let me read through here. Okay, so while everyone should shoot for Emerald rank as soon as possible, reaching further ranks like Diamond and Star Diamond should not be your primary focus. Again, you don't want to hit Diamond and then not make any money, because that's just really going to frustrate you, and it's going to frustrate your upline as well. And then what did I say here? You becoming a diamond helps me or your sponsor more than it helps you. You should become Emerald ASAP so you can take part in the Emerald incentives. But beyond that, you should focus on your volume and Success Club and let the other ranks happen as a byproduct of building a strong foundation. There's nothing worse than busting ass to diamond and not seeing the benefit financially. And that, I always felt like that was a really powerful statement, and I try to make sure my coaches know that that's how I feel. I don't want you guys to focus on rank for my sake. Sure, I want 2-star diamond. I want it really freaking bad, but I'll never sacrifice your income for my rank. That's just not what a coach should do. So keep that in mind as you're building your team as well. Okay, so what are the different ranks? I really quickly wanted to touch on this. Emerald requirements, you have to be active with 50 PV, which equates to about $55 worth of product. And this is $55 worth of product that you have to buy. That's why we usually suggest that you just stay on Shakeology. It's because it's 90 PV. It automatically covers that. Plus, you should really be a product of the product, but I'm not going to go into that right now. And then you have to have one active personally sponsored coach on each leg. So you will not be an Emerald coach if you sign your mom up and then she goes inactive the next week. You're no longer an Emerald coach. You have to replace that inactive coach to hold your rank. Your benefits are that you get cycle bonuses and that you can get those customer leads. Ruby, a lot of people skip over Ruby because the hardest part of advancing to Ruby and Diamond is getting those 2 Emerald coaches. So what it is you have to have a total of 4 coaches in your downline that you personally sponsor, and at least 1 on each leg has to be an Emerald coach. You also have to have 75 in personal volume, of which at least 25 has to come from you. Increased cycle bonus amount is the benefit, so you earn $16 per cycle. Diamond is just an extension of Ruby. You have to have a total of 8 coaches, of which at least 1 on each side has to be an Emerald coach. And you still have to have your PV requirement always. And then the benefits to Diamond are increased cycle bonus amount to $18, plus I forgot to put in here that matching bonus that you would earn based off of your team and your coaches cycling as well. So here's just a little image to show you guys in case you don't get it from how I was describing it. An Emerald coach has to have 2 personally sponsored active coaches to be Emerald. Ruby has to have a total of 4, at least 1 on each side has to be an Emerald. And then Diamond is just an extension. You have to have 8, 4 on each side, and 1 of those on each side has to be Emerald. So, this is also why we say don't push for rank, because it's so hard to get these Emeralds sometimes that you're just going to, like, if you get if you're building for income and you put 20 coaches over here and you have 6 emeralds and then you have like 3 coaches over here, you're going to get frustrated if you're pushing for rank instead of income, and you might throw more coaches over here and you're actually losing out on volume, which again, volume is what pays you. Rank doesn't pay you, at least not nearly as much as volume does. Okay, so what is the LEAD program? I put this in here. I hope you guys know what the LEAD program is. If you don't, really quickly, again, it's where Beachbody will award you with free customers. There are 2 different types of leads. There's a customer lead and a Success Club lead. You have to at least hit SC5 in the month prior to be eligible for leads. So essentially what it is if someone comes to the website or calls and orders, or just, orders off Amazon and then decides they want to coach, they go in and sign up for a free account. They would be considered a free lead and they get randomly assigned. It goes in like a wheel, so it's not random and spontaneous. It's like a cycle that Beachbody goes through. So, it doesn't matter what your rank is. If you're an Emerald coach or you're a 15-star Diamond coach, 15-star Diamond coaches don't get more leads just because of their rank. Everyone gets the same amount of leads as long as the leads are there. This just talks about, if you need to be a club member. I'm not going to go into that too much because I really don't want this call to go on forever. Benefits of signing up your spouse in the U+2. So we've been talking a lot in the groups about signing up your spouses. And I think it's amazing that you guys have been doing that. I signed up my spouse literally like 3 days after I enrolled. And then I signed somebody up a couple days after that and went Emerald in like the first week, I think, or maybe 2 weeks. I don't remember what it was, but it's very important to sign your spouse up as soon as you can, even if you don't intend to keep them active. The reason why is because, again, if you're looking at the long-term picture, you want your spouse at the top of your downline, because once they do become active and you do start building their business for income, they're going to be getting a whole lot more volume way up there at the top than they would if they were at the bottom of your downline. So that's why I say, even if you don't intend to keep them active, sign them up, get them in that spot, and just let them hold it down, because that's going to benefit you so much more in the long run. Again, your spouse's business center is essentially a second CBC. A lot of people get this idea that they can't build a second CBC until they hit 2-star, but that's not true. You have the opportunity to sign up your spouse and run their business just like a second CBC. So I run all of my orders that are not going to get me Success Club points through Jared's business. And then once I hit Success Club 10, anything extra after that, if it's a challenge pack or a coach or whatever, I'll put them under him. And the reason why is, again, because I can double dip and get extra income and volume from doing that. So that's what the volume manipulation is. Again, ideally you would have your spouse on your weak leg so you could really build their business to help you cycle a lot more. For me, it doesn't really work that way. Technically, sometimes it does, but my spouse is placed on my strong leg. So it's a lot different for me. It can also help you push for rank, like I explained earlier, with any second CBC or additional business center. You can use those business centers to push yourself for rank. So Brandy Bots, I remember she signed up her husband, obviously, and took him Diamond. And then she signed up both of her parents and took them Diamond. And she was working all of their businesses. They weren't working it. And all of those people helped push her to 15-star Diamond. So, it's invaluable. Even if you don't feel like it as a brand new coach, I promise you in a year or so from now, you're going to be like, thank you for making me do that, because it does pay off. Bonus buying in U+2. So this touches on what I just talked about with Brandy Bots. In our policies and procedures, it says that we cannot pay for other people to sign up as coaches or to purchase products. We can't use our card. That's considered bonus buying, and it's illegal. And Beachbody will fine you and cancel your account, and you will have to pay a lot of money. It's a big no-no. Don't ever, you have to sell to a customer. You can't buy Success Club points. You can't, buy a challenge pack for yourself or sign up somebody with your credit card. Don't go out and buy gift cards and, try to manipulate the system, it's a really big problem, and you will get fined for it, and they could sue you too. So just don't do it. But what they do allow you to do is what they call this U+2. And that's where you're allowed to not only be responsible for your own business, but you can assign up 2 additional people. So for instance, when I was pushing for Diamond, I needed 1 more coach on one of my legs. So I signed up my dad. My dad had no idea that I signed him up as a coach. But because of this U+2 exception, Beachbody allowed me to sign him up. Obviously, if they ever asked, I would need my dad to say that he was aware of it, because that's illegal to just steal someone's identity and do it. But because it's my dad, I don't really care. But you are allowed to use your card and your account, like your bank accounts, to sign up 2 additional people. Now, what happens if you sign up 2 additional people and then your grandmother, you want to sign your grandma up? Sorry, you can't sign up grandma as long as you have those other 2 accounts open still. You can cancel those other 2 accounts and then sign grandma up, but you are only allowed to pay for you and then 2 additional. So again, I do feel like you need to rush to sign up your spouse. I don't feel like you need to rush to sign up those 2 additional people. I think keeping those in the pipeline for when you're pushing for rank, or, let's say you just get to a place where you're like, you know what, I'm making enough money. I really want to help my parents out. Let me sign one of them up and I'll just make whatever money for them and they can have it. That's when you would use that. But it is an option. Okay, we are almost done. Spouse placement. Your spouse should be placed on your weak leg. I've said this a million times. We talked about it in the group. I posted that document from Stephanie Chico, so hopefully you guys have read through that. If you haven't, the reason why is because you want your spouse to be able to have an opportunity to maximize their income, even if it's not right away. If you're like me and you place your spouse on your strong leg, don't worry, it's not the end of the world. You can still build their income. But ideally, you want them on your weak leg because you can run their business as your second CBC, which will help your business cycle more. Plus, you can open your real second CBC, put it under them. That's kind of the whole idea. Just know, I can keep repeating that over and over again, or you guys can just trust me whenever I say your spouse should be placed on your weak leg. And when you get coaches that you're signing up who are pushing and signing up their spouses, make sure you encourage them to put them on their weak leg as well. Messed up. If you've already signed up your spouse and it's been beyond the 72-hour window to make a placement change, don't worry. There are other strategies to building up to maximize your income. So this is what I have to do. And whenever I say it's not the end of the world if you placed your spouse on your strong leg, bear with me. I'm going to explain this the best way I can, but it's really, really hard without being able to log into your back office and show you myself. Hopefully it makes some sense. So what I have done, because let me just paint the picture for you. My downline, I'm on Laura's weak leg, but my strong leg is my right leg. Dread is placed in the very first spot in my right leg. Very first coach helped me go emerald, bam. So he's placed on the wrong leg, and it kind of sucks because, I needed him on the weak leg so I could do all these things that I'm talking about, but I can't move him now because it's been well beyond 72 hours. So what has been discussed with me from top coaches is that what I should start doing now, because I'm at a rank and at an income level enough where I'm comfortable enough to do it. And that's the key part. Don't just run and jump and do this. You still need to build your business for your income first before focusing on your spouses in this way. Is I now place every single new coach I enroll that I intend to place on my strong leg now goes underneath his inside leg. So they're still my personally sponsored coaches and they're still placed on my right leg. It's just their placement is not far and wide. Now it is on his inside leg. And the reason for that is because they still count on my strong leg. So when I'm looking at my sponsorship drill down and I'm pushing for rank purposes, they're still counting on that side. But where they're contributing volume helps him cycle more because he's getting volume from his strong leg, which is my strong leg, which is, the side I'm getting all the stuff from Laura and all of our people. But now me adding those coaches in underneath him on that weak leg, on that inside leg, allows me to place volume underneath him that he would otherwise never be able to get. Now, it's kind of a catch-22 because in a way it doesn't benefit my coaches who I have signed up on that leg who are underneath him because they're not seeing any of that volume. But again, I cannot build my business and my income to satisfy those coaches. And also it kind of makes me rest easier knowing that Laura is still contributing on that side. And I know that she will be opening another business center and putting it under there, which she will then be pushing all of her orders through and signing up all of her new coaches. So that's going to really start to snowball and grow. But this is kind of the only way that I can maximize his income. So it kind of sucks because it throws off that whole idea of like far and wide and get to help everybody and like, you know, maximize income. But it's just what happened. So my advice to you is if you're in the same situation as me, don't worry. Still try to, you know, get yourself to a place where you're building up income. Take your spouse enrolled. Start letting them build up that volume bank and cycling. And then you can start doing the same. You know, once you reach a certain point where you're comfortable, you can start building up their inside leg and helping them cycle more. Because remember, as a diamond, I not only make commission and cycle bonuses off of, you know, the productivity of my team, but I also make that matching bonus. So since he's an emerald and he's cycling, I'm now also making that 10% matching bonus off of his cycle bonus. So in a way, putting those coaches underneath his weak leg benefits me for that reason. I mean, he's not cycling anywhere near the maximum amount. I mean, we're lucky if we get 2 cycles a week, but it still counts. And over time that will start to grow, especially as I continue to add coaches and then they continue to add coaches. And, you know, it just kind of builds up from there. Now, I don't want the coaches who are being placed under there to ever feel like they're getting screwed just because they're on an inside leg, because what you have to understand is that's now where I'm placing everybody. So it's just the same as if I were placing them on the outside leg. The only difference is they're not getting anything that Laura is placing either. So essentially, you know, it's almost the same as being placed on my weak leg. And that's just kind of how I had to do it. And it's unfortunate in a way, but at the same time, I can't feel bad about that because I can't control that. I have to build my business for me. So just know that it's not the end of the world. It's okay. It's happened before. There are a lot of coaches out there like us who place their spouses in the wrong place. You're not screwed forever. But if you haven't signed up your spouse yet, do it on the weak leg. Okay, last one. You can tell I made this image because it sucks and you can barely see it. Okay, so what I did was I went in and I Googled like the breakdown of our commissions thing just to give you guys an idea. If you go into your back office and you look up under my business, my commissions, this little picture is what you're going to see. So I really just wanted to do an explanation of what each of these categories means and how they contribute to your overall commission. Retail commission, that's obvious. That's anything that you buy or sell. Or I mean, anything that you sell, you're earning that 25% on. Subscription commission, that is the 50% commission that you make on the club membership refilling. Team bonus, this is your team cycle bonus. And matching bonus is, again, that 10% bonus that you make if you're a diamond coach or higher. That's based off of your coach's team bonus. The showcase pack bonus and the direct upline sponsor showcase pack bonus, there is a challenge pack that customers have the option of purchasing when they enroll as a new coach. That's the only time you can buy it. You can't go on and buy it unless you're signing up as a new coach. But it includes, oh God, they just updated it. What is it? It's T25, 21 Day Fix, and P90X3, as well as Shakeology and all the other crap that you normally get in the challenge pack whenever you sign up as a coach. But you're getting 3 programs instead of 1. And the cost I think is like $295. And the commission that you make for that is $100. And then your upline also gets a bonus. I'm not sure what it is. I couldn't find it in FAQ. But I would assume it's probably like 10%. So if I'm making $100 bonus, they'll probably get like $10 from it. I don't really know. Because I've never had a coach who sold one. Fast start bonus is anytime you sell a challenge pack to a customer who is enrolling as a coach. So notice that if you have a customer who's just purchasing a challenge pack, it'll go under retail commission. Whereas if it's someone who's signing up as a coach, it counts as a bonus. It's the fast start bonus. And this is really important to understand because if you are not active, you are not eligible for any bonuses. You still get paid your commission, but you do not get paid for bonuses. So I've had coaches who were inactive and signed up a coach, and then they were pissed off at me when they didn't get their commission. But what they didn't understand is you have to be active to earn a bonus, and I don't have control over that. Also, signing up a coach will not make you active. You have to sell the product. And the reason why is because when you sign up a coach, their volume from that purchase contributes to their volume. It doesn't contribute to you. So it'll go under your team volume, but not as personal volume. So it's really, really important that you guys understand that. And then the Fast Start Plus bonus, you earn a $100 bonus if you sign up 5 coaches with challenge packs within 5 weeks. So that's really cool that Beachbody just kind of gives you that extra little $100 here and there if you can sign up 5 coaches with challenge packs in 5 weeks. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and see. I'm sure you guys have questions. Okay, so Carrie Ann, I've been hesitant to sign my husband as a coach because I haven't gotten a second coach to go Emerald. I guess my question is, should I wait until I have a second coach to sign him up since that's a guaranteed coach? I guess the answer here is that's kind of up to you. I would say in a way it's kind of irrelevant. Either way, you're going to have to sign him up. You can sign him up and leave him as inactive well, he'll be active for 4 weeks because when you sign up or you get Shakeology, you'll be active for 4 weeks. And then if you don't refill before that 4 weeks is over, that's when you go inactive. So that gives you a 4-week period where you can take and get another coach. And if you don't, then just let him go inactive and leave him there until you get that other person, and then you can take him active again. The benefit to doing it that way is because you're still putting him in at a higher point in your downline. So if you keep waiting and waiting, I'm signing up all these coaches underneath you, and so are all the coaches who are underneath you, and he's missing out on all those people who would eventually contribute to his volume. So that's why it's important to sign your spouse up as soon as you can, because even if you don't do shit with your business for months, it doesn't matter. At least get them in that spot so that when you are ready to work their business, they have all these people underneath them. Even if they're on a weak leg, that they're going to still have people underneath them because you should be building that weak leg later on. But, you know, and I understand like wanting to wait because it's kind of like you don't know when you're going to get that second coach. But I find that when you sign your spouse up is usually when the pressure's on, or like the gates kind of flood and open and you're like, wait, I have a second coach coming. You know, I think that happened with Nicole. I think it did, where she signed up Jerry and then someone else came on and she finally got Emerald after so long. So you could technically do it anyway. My advice would still be to sign him up as soon as you can, simply because you want to get him in that spot so he can get those people underneath him who will contribute to his volume. The volume doesn't build if he's inactive. Remember, the volume will stay in that bank as long as you're active. So that is kind of the downside where I'm saying, you know, sign him up, get him in that spot so he can start getting all these people underneath him. If you keep him active, he'll continue to bank that volume. When he goes inactive, he'll lose it, but at least he still has all those people underneath him. So, you know, it's kind of like a catch-22, but you're kind of just like taking a hit so that you can set it up for the future. And I think that's it. So anyone have any other questions? Has there ever been anything that you've seen that didn't really make sense, or anything I brought up that you don't get? Ask anything, because I know that the compensation plan is kind of intense and deep. I want to make sure you guys understand it. No? Anyone? That's it? Peggy was around at the beginning when I was telling people, yeah, just split them up, put one on the left and one on the right, and one on the left and one on the right, and it sucks. I'm sorry. I owe you for that. But you live and you learn, and that's why it's important to make sure we share this information with people as we go along. So yes, spouse on your weak leg. If you have not signed up your spouse yet and you're going to do it, please put them on the weak leg. Make sure they're in that outside position. And again, if you have signed up your spouse and they're on your strong leg, it's not the end of the world. You'll just kind of have to eventually set up your business like I've had to, where I had to cut in and start placing people on his weak leg for him. And it's not the end of the world. It does kind of suck, but okay. So anyone else have questions? Anything? Did I really?
Excuse me.
No.
So I'm gonna sign my husband up then. You just said put him on the weak leg, which I'll do, but you said make sure he's on the outside. But I'm not Emerald yet, so I don't have any control over that, right?
Right. No, you should be fine. Beachbody automatically splits up your first two coaches, one to go on the left, one to go on the right, and there's only one spot for them to go. But I will caution you, once you sign up your first coach, I'm assuming, will he be your first coach?
No. So I have one on my strong, and then he'll just.
Okay, so I'm going to stop recording.